Hi everybody, welcome back to The Global Shift. Before we get into the episode today, I wanted to touch base on the meditative exercises we've been going over since season 1, especially using the celestial stream, the pressure technique against your eyes. Now, when we ended with season 1, I asked you to please start keeping a journal, start writing down what you're experiencing and what you're seeing. I want you to continue with your meditation the exact same way. What you need to start doing at this point is extending the duration of that meditation. When you use the eye technique on and off, watch what you are seeing appear to you in that void. And here is what I really want you to specifically working on. Your intent, but not just your intent. I want you to start asking to see things, to see home, for them to guide you and show you parts of the universe. This is what you need to start doing, and you truly will see some of the most amazing things you have ever imagined. But you have to start asking when you're in the meditative state, when you're there for 15 to 20 minutes, when you've done the eye technique, when you're seeing the fractal patterns, when you are traveling through the celestial stream, when you are seeing things and having angels appear, it's at that time you have to ask, please show me home. Show me where I originally come from. Please help me and give me guidance and insight. Don't always expect these things to show up right away. Sometimes that insight will show up over a few days, weeks, minutes, seconds. It doesn't always happen right away. Even visually, you may ask to see something and you might not see it during that meditative session, but you will see it in the next one or the one after that. But you got to keep that intent pure. You got to get a mantra for yourself. Like I said, I am always obtaining true insight and wisdom, guided by light and love, kindness and compassion. I only accept and open myself up to the highest vibrational beings, the source of all there is, and my highest self. So really focus on this as you're meditating. Keep the journal going. Keep writing down what you see, what you're experiencing, how you're feeling, how long you're meditating for. This is going to start to help you formulate your own system. But now, as I mentioned, not to be repetitive, and so we can get on, that intent. Really setting that pure, beautiful intent for insight and wisdom, and to start asking to see things and to be guided through the celestial stream and the universe is what you can start doing now, okay? So let's get into today's episode. Celestial ancestors. This is a great topic for me because there are so many theories, conspiracy theories, archaeological theories, the ancient alien theories, scientific theories, Darwin's evolution, the religious aspect of our ancestors. So it's such a fascinating subject to dive into because there are so many diverse avenues we can go into. But what I want to do today, what I want to do with you today is just present a few scenarios for you, and I want us to use that logic, that resonating logic, that feeling when we know something is true. So as I give you these scenarios, I want you to see how you feel with each one. I want you to see which one feels the best with you, if any. You may not like any of them at all, and you may love them all, and then even have this whole conundrum where you have to figure out which one is for you. But before we get into these little avenues I want to talk about, there's a couple of things I do want to say. I've always mentioned in season 1 that sometimes it's easier for us and better for us to look forward at the future evolution of where we're going and what we're going to do to understand where we came from and how we got here. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to present these little scenarios in that way. We're going to look at them from the past, we're going to look at them in the future, we're going to look at them from the future, and we're going to look at them from the past. So the first thing I want us to talk about is the natural planet Earth itself. You know, when we look at Earth, there is an insane amount of life on this planet. From the oceans to the air to the land, microbial and bacterial and cells. It is just crazy. Birds and insects. We can't even have a conversation about how much life and what kind of life is on the planet because it is just literally like somebody's little collection, like somebody's zoo. It's a celestial zoo. And we truly are blessed that we get to experience such an amazing planet with such diverse life on it. But I'm going to talk about that right now. Let's think about that. Let's think about that. Religiously, we want to understand and believe that God made all life here. Scientifically, we understand the tree of life. Everything is connected. We are all connected. Our DNA is connected with everything on the planet. We just all branched off into different avenues, right? But that's where things get a little odd for me. I still look around at this planet and I go, wow, really, man? I'm a part of an octopus and a shark and a mushroom. And yes, we really, truly are a part of these things. So we have to understand that Earth as a living planet is going to create life. It's going to happen. This planet has water. It has an atmosphere. Now, let's not get into side theories right now. I don't want to talk about whether this was a manipulated or terraformed planet or anything like that. I just want to talk about Earth as a natural environment. Right now, we are looking for Earth-type planets out there, right? One day we're going to migrate to these worlds out there. And when we do migrate, it might not be physical people because of the distance and the time it will take. We may send a craft there that has the seeds of life. Now, if we send the seeds of life to another planet, chances are we're going to send a massively diverse amount of life to this planet. And there already most likely is life on that planet. And let's think about that right there. We're looking at these Earth-type planets that we eventually want to migrate and send our life to. We know in 5 billion years our sun's going to go out and Earth is going to be gone. So we're going to have to go on, most likely how we got here. Really think about the things I'm saying. 5 billion years from now, our sun's going to go supernova and Earth is going to be gone. Before that happens, we will have migrated to multiple worlds that we find. I'm not just talking about Mars. We are looking at way off distant Earth-type planets in the Goldilocks zone. So when we find these planets, are we going to assume that a planet with a breathable atmosphere, with green land and trees and oceans does not have life on it? Of course it does. Of course it does. And it probably has a massive plethora of life on it, just like Earth does. Because the planet does form its own life, whether it starts off as mold and bacteria and heat conditions and cold conditions and condensation. However life starts on the planet, the universe was created in a way that when certain planets form a certain way, life will evolve. All the ingredients, all the coding, all the programming, all the knowledge needed for life is already out in the universe. When the circumstances are right, life blooms and blossoms and goes left, right, up, down, diagonal, and branches off, and the tree of life ends up just like we have here on Earth. So when we look at Earth as a natural planet, we could question scientifically and celestially, why is there so much diverse life on here? Some of the life on this planet does absolutely look alien. We even know some of the DNA on some species is questionable and could possibly have come from someplace else. And I do personally believe, whether it's from comets or extraterrestrials or our true migration, that we did send a celestial ark of some sort here a very long time ago, and it has seeded this planet. And what we seeded the planet with, where we came from and what we brought here, did mix with the natural environment and life on this planet and blossom and bloom and merge and create everything we have today. Now, with that being said, Earth being a natural planet, things just growing on the planet naturally and life evolving, I did just say us coming here on an ark celestially and delivering life here. Now, if our sun is going to go out in 5 billion years, we could come up with a theory and we could discuss the fact that we may have originally come from someplace else. We may have found this planet a long, long time ago and sent something here with life on it. Now, this is a true theory. This is a true theory that a very long time ago, 3 celestial arks landed on this planet. Two were destroyed, and one is held in a vault in a bank that is owned by the Rothschilds. And it would absolutely lend way into how they had the knowledge and the ability to control an entire planet and set up everything that we are slaves to today. So let's go back to that because I don't want to sidetrack. So this celestial ark hypothetically landed here on this planet a long time ago. It assisted and seeded this planet. And this machine, this vessel, this ark, waited for life to evolve on a planet in such a way that it itself had all of the information from where we came before and instructed and guided this new life to understanding how to survive and how to evolve and how to build and how to control and how to enslave and how to terraform and how to destroy and take all the resources and then migrate elsewhere. So that's such an amazing aspect when I think of our celestial ancestors, that we truly could have come from someplace else. Now, I mixed darkness in with that. I talked about the Rothschilds and the manipulation, and it doesn't mean that that's the way it happened. This celestial ark could have landed here. Life could have been beautiful. We could have been starting out as primates. The seeds of life could have integrated with the primates because we all know we share their DNA. As life was evolving on this planet, we had this new home that we would naturally evolve on with the species. We had the instruments of wisdom waiting for us, but there are other theories out there. There are other theories out there, and there is proof to back up so many of these theories. I don't know if you're familiar with the term the Anunnaki, a species, an alien race that came here and manipulated the natural evolving species on this planet to condition us and turn us into a slave race. So here's another little avenue of our celestial ancestor story. Check this out. Over 200,000 years ago in South Africa, there are mines right now, abandoned gold mines that are over 200,000 years old. And from archaeological exploration and from all sorts of research that we don't need to talk about, and a lot of it is theoretical research that they're trying to prove today, it appears that a race called the Anunnaki landed on our planet. And what this species was doing was mining this planet for the gold, for its resources. That's what they came here to do. They didn't want to do the work themselves because they were a superior race. This planet had naturally evolved species on it that were becoming highly evolved species. So what the Anunnaki did was genetically altered this specific species in this location to become a slave race. What the theory is and what the story is behind this is that as they created a hybrid race between the natural species and genetically modifying themselves with this species, they removed the connection of the pineal gland so this species could not connect to their higher selves. Really let that sink in for a minute. So as they did this, as they manipulated and modified this specific area of this species to become slaves and mine, when they left here, this species was still left here. They went off and migrated and integrated, and they also mixed with the natural species on this planet. Now today, you and I know we have people who are celestially connected. We are becoming enlightened. You are waking up. You are connecting with the universe and your higher self. You are seeing things through the techniques we've discussed and talked about that are showing and proving to you that there is more to our universe and we exist outside of our universe, and our consciousness, our soul is something that is incredible and diverse and complex. But we know that there are people who cannot wake up. We say, well, they're asleep. They had too much fluoride. Their pineal gland is calcified. I want to pose something to you. Think about what I said. Life on this planet was, not could have been, was manipulated by the Anunnaki. This is all true, and we're going to get into these things as we go along with Egypt and all sorts of stuff. But to keep this episode short and to focus on these things, when the Anunnaki did manipulate that species did evolve and go out in the world and wander out there. But these have become the people of today that can only live lives by what they're told. They only believe religiously in what they are force-fed. They believe they are here to work and make money and buy a home and reproduce and continue on with this and honor the enslaved aspect of our free will in a maze. These people are descendants of that manipulated species. So that's why I always say we're never going to have that balance and harmony on the planet that we want, because there's always going to be opposition. Even with people who are enlightened and on a path of enlightenment, there's always going to be a difference of opinion, but it's how we react and handle it that makes the difference. So getting back to this, let's think about that in a whole before we even move on to the next aspect of what I want to talk about. We have a natural planet, Earth. Life is evolving on this planet naturally. Chances are we migrated here from another world. We seeded this planet. At some point while that was happening, life became manipulated on this planet by a deceitful, malevolent race. Now, there historically is, in ancient cultures, a time before the moon. Now, I don't want to talk about this because even if you look up Carl Sagan and certain astrophysicists, they will tell you our moon has no business being there. It should not exist. Now, scientifically, we want to believe that during the formation of the Earth, the moon broke off and formed around it as a part of the Earth, or a celestial body collided with the Earth and just formed around it and became like this. But, as I just mentioned, historically, there is written text from ancient civilizations that talk about a time before the moon. A time before the moon. If you mathematically look at the placing of the moon, the way the moon helps sustain our atmosphere and environment, it does make it look like it was absolutely put there to potentially help and terraform and maintain balance on our planet between the sun so life could evolve on this planet. This is all possible because, as I said, there is a time before the moon. There is culture written in ancient culture that the moon was towed here by another civilization. Now, we also have theories and conspiracies and proof going on, if you look up online, of ancient artifacts on the moon. Shapes of buildings and satellites and towers and construction and mining facilities on the moon. These are all ancient and they look like rock formation. Go look this up. I'm not nuts. And this is all for you to believe or not. This is your choice of your free will within the maze. But I want to pose something here to you, that the moon itself, theoretically, and is spoken about that it could possibly be a vessel. And if the moon is a vessel, which even NASA, when the lunar lander, Apollo 11 landed on the moon, it rang like a bell. We've done tests and we've bombed the moon and it has reverberated and rang like a bell, like it is hollow and metal. Now, there are theories that the moon is a ship. So as I mentioned before, the celestial arc, how do we know that the moon is not this vessel that our society, our celestial ancestors created long ago, that came here and delivered new life to the naturally evolving planet? These are all things for you to start to think about, because what we've been told in the past is absolutely just ridiculous. Nobody blinked their eyes like a genie and life appeared. We know evolution is a part of creation, and a part of creation is a part of evolution. It's all hand in hand. But when we think about this migrating species, a migrating species, is it really that far off? Is it really that far off that a species could land on this planet, seed this planet, and be evolving naturally with the life on this planet? Is it really that far-fetched? Is it really so far-fetched that a malevolent species could come off their planet and travel throughout the universe looking for habitable planets to go to and mine and take the resources and enslave and modify those species on those planets. Is it so impossible to believe that that could have happened here? We know King Tut's father, Atunakan, was the one king who changed the religion of Egypt. He looked physically looked like no other person we've had on this planet before. So research these things, because what I'm telling you right now, could we have migrated here from another world? Could we have seeded life on this planet? Could a hostile species have come to this planet and modified it? Right now, we're looking for Earth-type planets. Here we go. Looking at the future to understand the past. Right now, we are looking for and searching out Earth-type planets. Our government, the United States government, and most world governments embrace digging into the planet and sucking up all the natural resources. They all embrace enslaving their citizens and making them work to the bone to support their own lives and then pay taxes and do all this other stupid shit we embrace every day. We know we go into other countries and kill and destroy for money and land ownership, and to dictate the way that that land and those people will now live. Back to what I was saying. We, our government, the people who run our country, are looking for other worlds that are Earth-type planets. Why? So we can migrate our species to these planets, either physically if we have and use the technology that is available now. I'm not going to talk about the secret space program and the things that are truly up there and out there that we have no concept of. That's all for another episode. But we are going to migrate to another planet. And if we do not change our ways on Earth, when we migrate to this other planet and we do find life there, if the life is a more primitive form of life and not advanced enough to kick the shit out of us, if they are a more primitive type of life, we are going to be dominant and enforce our way as we seed their planet, as we mine and start to suck up and take all the resources of their planet, as we start to change and condition and rework their natural environment and their natural course of life, we're going to rework it and start reconditioning and brainwashing them into believing our faiths from here, our way that they should be honoring life and what their morals should be, all based on here. We're going to teach them destruction, and this is what we're going to bring to them. And this is why this is the most important reason I do what I'm doing. Some days I consider it too late for our planet. Some visions I get let me know it's too late for our planet. But it's not too late for when we migrate here off of this world. We do not have to take these ways with us. We can leave them behind and start off new. So you have to understand that just as we will, not maybe someday, not hopefully, we will migrate to another world. And I said it might not be man, because we might not embrace the technology that can get us there quick enough, which we already have. We might send a craft there that will seed life at an accelerated rate. That accelerated life will migrate with the life that's there. It will now have this craft to understand how to work and modify and learn and understand this whole new world, whether it's visual or however it teaches to learn, I don't know. But we will do this. It'll either be us going there, we'll be seeding this planet. If there is life there, we will be controlling that planet. We will evolve on this new world, and we will turn it into just like this, and we will terraform it, and we will become a monetary seeking society. We will be destroying the atmosphere, the land, and the sea. We will also, if there is life there now, if there is already primate life, a more primitive life, we will absolutely 100% by the time we get there manipulate that life. It may even be the way we seed the planet. It may just put something out there, a bacteria, a virus that infects the life that's there and alters its DNA. I can't tell you about these things because I haven't channeled and focused on them enough. But everything I'm saying to you should be resonating enough with you to know that our celestial ancestors most likely migrated to an Earth-type planet that we now call Earth. We found a planet that would sustain life. Now, maybe we came from Mars. Maybe we just hopped to this planet because Mars, Mons Olympus, the volcano on Mars, why nobody puts this together, is so big that it literally sticks up into the atmosphere of the planet. It's so tall that this volcano sticks into the atmosphere. What I believe happened on Mars, a thriving, beautiful planet that was just like Earth at one point, I believe this volcano erupted and blew up so bad that it destroyed the atmosphere, blew the atmosphere apart on this planet. It killed the planet by covering the planet and blocking out the sunlight. All vegetation died. Chances are the life on this planet knew this was going to happen, and they prepared and they left and they sent life here. Now, Earth may have been an Earth-type planet, or maybe that's why the moon came here. Maybe that was the vessel they used, but we definitely did migrate from another world onto a planet that could sustain life. We most likely did have to modify and terraform this planet in some way to support our life the way we needed it to. We definitely mixed with life here. Another race and multiple races have come, extraterrestrial, just going to say the word, races have come here, and they have manipulated and modified our species, not just once and not just twice, multiple times. So our celestial ancestors do come from the stars. We originated from the stars within this universe. But here's what I want to end this with. We keep on looking within the universe to guide us and for the answers of who we are. The universe was created. The Big Bang. Someone, something, chemical, biological, technological, electrical, God created the universe. The same original consciousness and awareness that created the universe gave parts of its own consciousness to create you and me and everyone else. Our true celestial ancestors, your higher self, exists outside the universe. We come from someplace else. Like watching a video game on your screen and holding a remote control and controlling your character and navigating it through that game on that screen, that is exactly what we do. Our universe is that game in that screen, in that TV, and our true self is that being controlling that joystick. The celestial stream is what connects us from outside of the universe to inside of the universe. So your true being, before we landed, before consciousness came into here, before we streamed into these organic beings on these planets and evolved and then started migrating out to other planets and creating creation within creation and evolving to where we're going to go and talk about in chapter 20, we truly come from someplace else. We are not human beings. We are not extraterrestrials. We are not aliens. We are beings of light, of true energy and true consciousness. And embrace that knowing. Do your meditative exercises. Write down your notes. Think of the words I said with you today. Watch this episode again and again and let these different concepts of what has happened and what will happen. Please, I'm begging you, we need to will and shift and put out there into the world that we will not migrate off to other worlds and do what we did here, because you know that that is the most truest thing I have ever said to you. Our governments and the world governments will take spacecraft. They will go to these Earth-type planets and they will do exactly what we have done here, there. They will enslave and destroy and terraform and kill, and they will go on and do this over and over, because it is exactly what we have done here, because it is exactly what we were taught to do, modified to do, manipulated to do, and deceived in believing was right. So everybody, with light and love and kindness and compassion, reach out to everyone around you, embrace them with kindness and compassion, and reach up to your higher self and the source of all there is. I will see you next week with light and love. I'm Jay. Take care.